Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. So good to see you all. Welcome back. We're back for another Wednesday evening, a beautiful night for two more episodes of the classic series Gilligan's Island. We're going to be streaming two episodes from season three, and which are, as I will mention now, the first one we are going to do will be season three, episode 19, Lovey's Secret Admirer. This episode originally premiered Monday, January 23rd, 1967, and the description is somewhat as follows. Mr. Howell becomes outraged and jealous when he discovers that a secret admirer is sending letters to Mrs. Howell. So it sounds fascinating. Sounds like entertaining, like it's going to be entertaining. Please join us. I do have a poll in the chat. I want to remind everybody if you'd like to participate, please vote which episode you like better. Either which episode you like better, or which review that that we cover. You can review our coverage of the episodes or the episodes themselves. Hopefully that makes some sense. And I believe we may have missed last week, and if we did, I apologize. And I know I've been a little down and out this week, but I'm hoping to come back and even better than before. So tonight, I think it's going to be a blast, and we're going to have a good time. It looks like we've already had people here waiting in the comments, in the chat. I appreciate your patience, and thank you all for being here. I'd like to welcome um, my co-host, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. I got the stream re-uploaded but I will be changing protocols for my channel for letting people on the panel. So, because
Well,
all the takes is one person to ruin it for everybody.
that's right. So, why don't, for those of us that are not in the know, why don't you kind of reprise this of what happened last night?
Well, last night there,
Jar
the
Jar, I
person.
guess you're Jar Jar Gorilla right now, huh?
Oh, that I forgot to switch it from Star Wars Day. But anyhow, the guy was talking cordially in the chat. He
Uh,
said something in the YouTube chat. It looked like he had a camera on, and stuff. He looked like he was just a new member to the community, making his way around to different people's live streams. So if you guys see a trucker Dan, be wary. But then it turns out it's just a troll putting porn bots on your thing just so you can report your stream right afterwards. But I got yanked down, started a new stream, and I got it edited out, so all fresh views on it. So now for whoever watches it.
I didn't know that he reported you, so he reported you.
No, that's what they do is they report those streams after you boot them right off. That's what they do. They try to get your streams taken down and wreck your whole channel and everything.
Oh, okay, because I didn't know I'd seen trolls before, but I didn't know that the very same trolls turn around and turn you in.
Yeah, but I got it all yanked down and everything.
Jerks. There's no reason for that. But I'm glad to see you handled it well, sir. But like I said, behind in the backstage, it's not your fault. It does happen. Some people sneak through the cracks, right?
Yeah.
But it's good to see you, Gorilla. I'm glad you can make it tonight. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be fun. We've got two episodes, and the second one has somebody who's been on the island before, but playing a different character. So that'll be interesting. We'll cover that as well. But I want to say first and foremost, also, welcome to the chat, everybody. And it looks like Suzanne was here first, and she says, hello, Pop. Hello, Suzanne. I hope you're feeling well tonight. Great to see you. And likewise with you, Lemon Pie. Good to see you too. Lemon Pie says hello. And it looks like we have Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, MCU, and Doctor Who, saying hello. And Suzanne saying hello, Gorilla. And Lemon Pie saying, hey, Suzanne. And Suzanne saying, Lemon Pie, hello. Lemify saying, Swift Man, hi.
Yeah.
And shows the LAMFAO gorilla, or Lemify. Nemesis of Eden just popping in to say hi. I hope you are all doing well, pop culture, gorilla, and chat. Good to see you, Nemesis. I'm sorry I didn't make last night, but I promise us we'll make up for that next week. Um, wasn't doing my best the last couple of days, but I'm doing better today. Sorry about that, buddy. Lemon Pies is Nemesis, and he's waving. Nemesis is hello, Suzanne Hale. Hello, Lemon. Hello, Taylor Swift. And Suzanne says, Gorilla, try to be nice to the guy. Of course, Gorilla's nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Suzanne is Nemesis, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be nice as possible,
Oh,
but when you have a troll, you have a troll. There's not really much you can do about it. It's not your fault.
better change my avatar. I forgot to change it. Yeah.
The avatar for last night was that AI.
The avatar.
Yeah, was that an AI avatar from last night?
Oh, are you talking about my thumbnail?
Yes.
Yeah, that was an AI.
Okay.
All I
Suzanne
had to
says,
do was
Nemesis,
put
go ahead.
all I put into the generator too was a gorilla smoking and drinking, and it came
Well, it
up
seemed
with
to
a
work.
martini and a cigar.
It seemed to work.
Yeah, and everybody loved the one with the gorilla riding a tornado.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen that one yet.
That was from Mondays there when you weren't straight when you were
Oh,
when you when we found out we weren't doing Lost in Space. I decided to start streaming, and
yeah.
we were having tornado warnings pop up to the west of us. So I made the stream Stormwatch to open panel there. Then I just had an avatar of a gorilla riding a tornado.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Yeah, that AI can be handy, can't it? I know some
Yeah,
people don't like it, but sometimes it comes in handy.
I found one that
Yeah.
actually works for me and actually does what you tell it to do.
Oh, so it's not the one with YouTube?
No, no, this is a Microsoft one. So yeah, I got an excellent AI generator, but dang it, I had to thank Bill Gates. Son of a
Oh, well, fortunately, he's no longer in charge of Microsoft. He's
yeah.
busy trying to destroy the world and corrupt everybody, and he's busy betting it up with the World Economic Forum.
Oh,
Limbs of Eden says, no worries, buddy, your health is always more important. I was worried, glad to hear you are feeling better, Pop. Yeah, I just had a few things kind of throw off my schedule pretty much. So it kind of messed me up a little. And I hadn't had a chance for my Tuesday night horror sci-fi stream. I hadn't had a chance to let everybody know what to watch ahead of time. So I wasn't really sure what to stream last night. I was going to do rumblings from the lab, but then I wasn't really up to that. So I'm glad that Gorilla was around to take up the slack and to do streams since I wasn't there. So thank you for doing that, Gorilla.
yeah, not a problem.
Except for you getting the troll last night. I do apologize for that.
Well, you're not the one that needs to apologize.
Oh, so now my mouse decides to go dead. I've got a, what do you call it? Wireless mouse. It just went dead.
Oh, yeah, I had that with the other day with my batteries dying.
Give me just a moment. I gotta plug it in. You guys in the chat, go ahead and talk. Chat it all up. Give Gorilla something to talk about.
All right, and my timer is going off here.
Oh, Gorilla's got to go check his pork loin. All
Yeah,
right, Gorilla. Gorilla will be right back.
Gorilla is our atlas, always there to support others. Well, I try, but some people, some people just they need therapy. Is that what they need? All right,
Yeah, you're right about
I'll,
that,
I'll
aren't you?
I'll be right right back. I'm gonna go pull that out of the oven and let it sit on the stove for a minute.
Sounds good. Okay, so I've got to be able to do this chat without a mouse. Let me figure out how to get my mouse working here. Um, where is my charging cable? Of all times for this thing to go dead. I really apologize for that. Bear with me, everybody. I'm looking for my charging cable. I'm not cool with this bottle first. All right. Got the cable. Let me get it plugged in. What a strange time for this thing to go dead.
All right, I'm back. Oh, and I'm out big. Okay, so yeah. Let's see. Nemesis, I'm all for the naughty stuff, just not live on YouTube. Yeah, that's for like after the stream, once you go lay down in bed there. Yeah, so I don't go to YouTube for that. There's plenty of other sites strictly for that stuff.
Are you talking about the for the AI?
Yeah, Nemesis says I'm all for the naughty stuff, just not live on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I found a cord to plug my mouse in, and then it bumped me out of the studio, and I had to come back. But I'm back now. I got a mouse that works. Right, and of course the technical issues is start as soon as I start the stream. I couldn't. It happened all day today when I was watching videos on my computer.
Yeah,
All
and
right, so let me get. Go ahead.
no, you get it pulled up. I'll continue with the chat here.
Thank
Suzanne
you.
says I'm still not well, but feeling a little better today. Well, that's kind of good to hear there, Suzanne. I hope you do get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Nemesis says I showed up and the technical issues began. My apologies. You don't need to apologize, Nemesis.
Definitely not your fault. No, it's a. That's the only thing I don't like about wireless mics is they have to be charged, and they always go out. I mean, literally, as you guys can see here, they go out at the worst time when you least expect it.
Oh yeah, I gotta remember to start turning mine off.
That's what I never do is I don't turn it off so it goes dead. I guess I should, but oh well. You get lazy.
Yeah,
All
but
right,
when I'm
turn
ready
on my
for bed,
subtitles.
I'm ready to bed.
All
Yeah,
right.
and Scurvy says, Suzanne, I hope you feel better soon. Yep, we all do. Hey, and it's the man of many words there, and he says, Happy Hump Day. Which reminds
Hey,
me, I
old
forgot to
Cody
put my
guy.
thing on Twitter. All right.
There we go. And let me get my overlay set if I can remember to do that this time. Not that it's going to make any difference because I'm still going to get flagged anyway, but hey, I might as well go since I went through the effort of making it.
Yep.
There we go.
And Nemesis says, Feel better soon, Suzanne. And Nemesis says, Hail to Cody guy.
Absolutely. So we have our opening here, and it looks like we open up with the Howells. And Mrs. Howell calling Thurston, are you asleep? Yes, I was there. I was having the most terrible dream. What's that?
Yeah, I hated that. Thurston didn't sleep. Uh, Thurston, are you asleep?
Yeah, I know, right?
I hate that. Mercy used to do that to me a couple times too, especially when I was getting blamed for something that apparently I did in her dream.
Oh no, don't blame me for something that's in your dreams. No thanks.
Well, every woman does that.
And they were hurting my little tootsie. So he was talking about his nightmare, and
Yeah,
he was walking
$1,000
on
bills.
fresh dollar bills.
Did they
Right?
used to make $1,000 bills?
Did he say 1,000 or 100?
1,000.
I don't know if they've ever made 1,000 or not.
Well, I guess I'll do what my dad always tells me. Google it.
I think I read an article once where they may have, but they start cutting down on making them be due to counterfeit. Because the larger the bills, the more people tend to counterfeit them. So I think now that's why the largest ones they have are 100.
Okay, they used to make $1,000. Okay, the United States no longer issues bills in larger denominations such as 500,000, 5,000, and 10,000 bills, but they still are legal tender and may still be in circulation.
Yeah, that makes sense. They would still be legal tender.
And that is a government website, USA.gov.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I was right. I dreamt that somebody kissed me on my cheek, says
Oh,
Mrs. Howell.
hey, the $1,000 bill was discontinued in '69.
Oh, right after this show went off the air.
Yeah,
Well, we're on season 3, which is 67. So 2 years later.
yeah,
And he said, why don't you find out who it was? And then, of course, she says, she goes back to sleep, and then he asks, what's that note there between her pillow? He says, what's that? And she says, what's what? And he says, between your pillow. And she pulls out this note.
yeah.
And he says,
And
that's funny, there's not one under my pillow. Go
yeah,
ahead.
apparently they have pink stationery on the island, which would be kind of rare, wouldn't it?
Not if they brought it with them, I guess. I
You
guess
know, but it,
if they don't use up, maybe. I wonder if Mr. Howell has blue stationery. But he says, that's funny, there's not one under my pillow. Well, what does it say? Oh, nothing at all. And she starts blushing and getting excited. And he says, well, let's look at this. My darling, just seeing you, just being near you has given my life new meaning. And I don't know how much longer. Of course, I remember everybody, we have to skip so many seconds ahead. We can't play this or I'll get a copyright warning again. So,
oh,
but basically, it's a secret admirer lover. What's that?
that's a love letter. Basically, that's all it is. Calling her a sweetheart, and he can't live without her, and everything. And his dreams, he can't keep it quiet no longer. He might burst
Yes.
without it. Blah blah blah.
And Mr. House says, Lovey, you have a secret admirer. And we open up with our beginning credits and our iconic theme song.
Sit right back and hear a tale, faithful trip. That if I sing anymore, we'll get a copyright strike.
I know. I wish I could say screw them and just play it anyway.
Yeah, well, depending on how much you play, they might yank the stream down.
They will. The way that Louisiana TV station is, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I'm talking midstream. They might cut it off after.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have Mr. Howell yelling and shouting and accusing. And the first person he accuses is Skipper of being the secret admirer. And Skipper has no idea what he's talking about.
Well, you gotta remember, you hit him first.
Yes. Now, when he says hit him, he means slapped him with gloves. It's the old fashioned way of calling a man out when they slap him across the face with a pair of gloves. Or can we actually hit Skipper across the tummy?
Yeah.
Why don't you call her sweetheart? Say, what's going on here? Skipper's confused. Well, I suppose you didn't write this, says Mr. Howell. And he shows him the letter, but you really must forget about me. After all, I am a married woman, says Mrs. Howell. I deny it. I dare you deny it. I deny it, says the skipper. So
And
next
really,
they go to the professor.
yeah. And could the skipper really write something that as sweet as that? Like
I
you
don't,
look
you
at
never
the
know. It's
wording of that,
possible. Gilligan, I don't know, but Skipper, maybe.
yeah, you could tell like how the professor will use words you wouldn't be able to understand.
Right, the professor would be very factual and scientific, I guess. So they accuse the professor and says the professor obviously also denies it. Tell me what is this about? Tell me we both know. Sorry. I know that's why we encourage you to watch this so the text makes sense when you're reading it so you guys can catch all the jokes. I don't want to spoil this for you. You need to be so formal, say Mrs. Howell, right in front of my very eyes. Aha, this is some sort of joke, says the skip professor. I can assure you that I'm not a seething volcano, says the professor. Well, if you didn't write the note, then who did? And if the captain didn't write the note, so they're trying to figure out who possibly could have. And next he's on to Gilligan. And there's Gilligan. That's the gloves that Gilligan actually grabbed right there for a second.
Yeah. Then he's like, "Oh, are these yours?"
You're not the shy, innocent little boy. And he tells Gilligan about the note. And he said, no, it wasn't me. And well, Gilligan, I'm very flattered, she said. But you're so young. I'll thrash you within an inch of your life, says Mr. Howell. And she says, come, Thurston. He is just, after all, just a young boy. A silly, wonderful boy. There, sweet prince. And he's like, sweet prince, lady fair. And she says, I'm just mad about your last note. What note? And of course, Gilligan, of course, has no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Mr. Howell reads from the letter some more. And he says, after I'm through, that you'll need the Red Cross to take care for you. And he says, I didn't write any note or any notes. That's one thing, you know what? That's one thing they could have asked. That not only did who write the note, but who has pink stationery? Who has that kind of stationery that could write that note?
Yeah. Like to me, this whole episode was predictable. Like, it was like one or two options. It's like,
Yeah,
but
from
at
the
least
beginning, it was very obvious.
yeah, at least they settled it right away. And then went off to.
Right now, she's telling the girls about it. This is the point, right? You're right. You said they could narrow it down to a couple people, and I almost thought for a minute that maybe Mrs. Howell did it for attention. The way the girls are reacting. Oh, certainly, whoever he is, he certainly has a crush on you. God, and secret admirer. I don't even think they would allow those anymore. I think now they're called stalkers.
Yeah, and you know how that, and you can tell this was written in the '60s because they all assume that it was a man that wrote the letter. For all we know, it
That
could have
too.
Marietta Ginger trying to cheer her up from being sad,
Yeah,
which
you're
I think
right.
was.
That too.
And nowadays, it would have been a girl, girl there.
And they would have mentioned that in the show. They would have said, "How do you know it's not a she?" They would have said that on the air, on the show, as part of the script, which would totally ruin it. They would definitely say that. How would you know it's not a she? And now Marianne and Ginger are acting like they're having an argument right outside of Skipper's window. And of course, he is listening, which that's the whole point of they're trying to get his attention. When I go after man, I go after him. If you know what's good for you, they're arguing just loud enough for him to hear. So I'll add some black and blue to your brown eyes. Like he doesn't see them looking right at him. And he comes out and says, "Hello, what's going on out here?" "Skipper, you do like me better than Ginger, don't you?" Of course, now the girls are jealous because of the letter that Miss Howell has. Well, and he's blushing and he doesn't really know what to say. So he says, "Well, I like you both, Marianne." "Well, if that's your attitude, you can." She asked, "Which one would you want if you had to choose?" And he said, "Well, I guess Ginger." And she says, "Well, if that's your attitude, you can have her." Unfortunately, that makes her upset and she leaves. So they're hoping to catch Skipper in a lie, and she's asking if he wrote the notes, and he said no. "Not me, but if you want to write it to anyone, it'd be you. Skipper, why don't you write me a note?" And she leaves and spurns his affection. So Professor decides to jump into action and build a lie detector out of coconuts, of course.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. Like he only says, if you're lying, let the horn sounds. If you're telling the truth, the light will come on." But it's like, yeah, come on, you can come on with a little more detail.
Yeah, I guess he uses parts from the minnow to build it.
Yeah,
"I have wired the ship's horn from the minnow and utilized the batteries from the radio. If anyone lies, the horn goes off." There's Mrs. Howell just loving the affection and the attention. So now to test the machine, Mr. Howell says, "Yes, tell a lie first so we can judge the truth." "Oh, yes, of course," says the professor. "I should like to stay on this island forever." And when he does that, the red light beeps, honking, which means no. But that is a lie. "You see," he says. And then Mrs. Howell says, whispering, "No, in due time. I must be crafty." The idea is to catch someone off guard.
yeah,
And Mr. Howell asks the professor what his degrees are. "I have a BA from USC and a PhD from TCU. Of course, I can't read them all because we have to skip, but he has several. I have to skip through the frames though, so we're not able to read them all."
he
"Well, I
has
don't know
four
anything
ones
about
from
you."
four different colleges, which I would hate to see his bill from the universities.
Maybe he had a rich family.
It had to have been for his going to four different universities and getting four bachelor's degrees.
Oh, that's 32. That's a lot. That means he's definitely a brainiac, and he spent most of his time in school. So now they're drilling. Skipper, you like brunettes? You like redheads? You plan to write me some more love notes? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, and no. There, you see, I always
Well,
tell the truth.
that's because they kept asking him like questions there, and it's like
Yes.
Again, a bunch of the questions were the same.
Oh yeah, when they kept asking him several questions without giving him a chance to answer. So now they put Gilligan on the stand. All right, Gilligan, were you ever in love? And Gilligan says yes. And they said, what was her name? I
Hermes.
can't remember.
Hermes. Hermes. It was Hermes.
Hermes?
Like the god,
Hermes.
Hermes.
That's an odd name for a girl. And he said, no, the girl's a turtle. And then honk honk. They ask him another question, and he asks, and it doesn't honk about the turtle, but it honks about the next question. I lied. She was in love with another turtle. All right, Gilligan, let's talk about Mrs. Howell. And the professor says it's not going to work. Gilligan's answered your questions truthfully about who he loved. But I've been getting all those notes, says Mrs. Howell. Somebody must be in love with me. And then the professor says the only other possibility is there's someone else on the island. Someone else? You mean a total stranger? We've simply got to find out. And Mrs. Howell says, oh, I need to fix my hair and freshen my makeup. And I'm going to grab something to drink. I'll be right back, Gorilla.
All right, I'll catch us up here on the chat. All right, so I guess we are all caught up on the chat. How? Well, oh, I can't wait till we get to the next episode. That one was a lot of fun to watch there. And this one here was just predictable. Uh, I don't even know what to say about this episode because I know we don't want to get. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I got a message. All right, so nothing in the chat, and I have no control over the thing there. And my cat's just driving me nuts. There.
Okie dokie. Thank you. No, she says basically I need to freshen up my makeup. One never knows who they might meet. And then Gilligan asked Professor, do you really think there's someone else on the island? Gilligan, I think I know exactly who this total stranger is. So now they're going to set up a trap to find out who the secret admirer is. Lit smack. And they turn on the flashlight, and lo and behold, it is Mr. Howell himself.
Yeah. Well, he sneaks in, and then he's dressed up, and he did like a straight, like a breaking the fourth wall by just staring into the camera. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
How they did it.
So everybody's there, and he's caught in the act. And my dogs decide to start. Hey, sorry about the noise there. I just fed them a little while ago. Hush,
That's all
pooches.
right.
And then now here's Mr. Howell saying he had no idea that the whole thing would get out of hand. Well, he's the one that kept pushing it and pushing it. He's basically saying that he wanted to remind her of his love, that he still loved her. And he didn't want her to feel lonely. And she's taking that as he's thinking that she's old. And she gets mad and throws him out. Well, we'll be going, Mrs. Howell.
Well. Here's the thing. He just started throwing words in the mouth. What he's saying wrong. You know, like we all know if there's gonna be a secret note, it'd probably go to Ginger. You know, and he kind of mentions that, and then she starts yelling at him, so he slips up and he goes, "Oh, a woman of your age, a woman of my age." She just started throwing words into his mouth. You know, he kept getting more flubbergasted until she throws him out. Which I really hate when they do that to you.
Which they do, unfortunately. I'm going to put him out of my mind and forget him. And now she's listening to the radio. And then there's the announcer on the radio going to tell a story about a slipper and a prince. So we're going to get a little Cinderella story here. So now we're going to get a dream sequence, except this time it's not from Gilligan, but from Mrs. Howell. Cinderella is forced into the room by her stepmother. And we have the skipper, unfortunately, playing the stepmother. I want you to mop this floor. Yes, stepmother. And all she's doing is talking, and he's saying, "Get to make so much noise. Why can't you be quiet like your beautiful stepsisters?"
Oh
And
yeah,
she's,
that's the one thing that always drove me nuts with Cinderella, the condescending tone of the way like the stepmother always talked to Cinderella.
well, that's part of the plot. That's the plot of
Yeah, no,
Cinderella. She talks down to her, but she always, favors the stepsister or the stepsisters over her.
yeah, and this is where this episode really went downhill for me.
Why is that?
The whole Cinderella story, just the way they presented it. And this is only the second time that Alan Hale Jr. appears in drag.
Yeah, second time so far.
Yeah. And do you recognize this room here? Do you recognize the room?
Do you mean from the show or a different one?
It's from this show.
I'm not really sure which one is it.
It's Dr. Boris Blankenoff's
Oh,
torture chamber.
laboratory.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course, I should have figured that out. Except it's not on a different island, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, they have a short person or a little person supposedly playing the night delivering the note. And that way they can take advantage of the double door joke.
Yeah.
And then the stepmother says, as a joke, they need taller soldiers or shorter uniforms. So he says it's an invitation to the ball. And Cinderella says, "Didn't I get an invitation?" And of course the mother's laughing. You, ha 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 ha. Oops. Anyone would invite anybody as ugly as you, she says. She knows my two beautiful daughters. And then we get footsteps. Girls, girls, the prince has invited you.
then they have Mary Ellen and them come down, and it's this like
Oh, we have Mary Ellis who get a guest appearance from the
they're
Waltons.
not. I mean, I mean,
I know. It's
or
okay.
Mary Ann. Too many
It's
dang
o-
Marys.
yeah, you got too many Marys that you're watching. So they've got Ginger and Marianne all uglied up for the role. Sit with her, why can't I go? You, Cinderella, and they're laughing at her. And you wanted to go to the ball. Still laughing at her, and that's her mop.
Oh yeah, it's just
And
one
yes,
little thing.
and yes, I do recognize the suit. Is that what you were going to ask next?
The suit.
Yeah, that Gilligan's wearing.
Oh no, no, that I wasn't asking on. No, it's just the this here is the torture chamber for Boris Pinkoff's thing. It's the torture chambers there with the staircase and everything. When just
Yep,
imagine about the torture devices all around.
exactly. But you recognize that suit that Gilligan's wearing. This is the
No.
second time on Gilligan's Island that they've used in a dream sequence. Gilligan wore it last time from season one, and it's also the same suit that the guy wore on Star Trek TOS episode Cat's Paw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we talked about it then. If you remember, you guys out in the chat listening, the bald guy from Cat's Paw. It's the same suit he was wearing. I remember we covered the actor at the time. He died. He died shortly after. He didn't live very long after that episode was filmed. I'm your fairy godmother, and she says, I didn't know I had a fairy godfather. Well, for tonight they let me into the union. I guess if we're short on fairy godmother, says the fairy godfather.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you wish you could go to the ball?
the
Go
fairy
ahead.
godmother wasn't what was busy at the time, so they let him go, and he can only be out
Yes.
till midnight.
Right now he says, where's she going back to midnight? Right. Or he could, or they could, both. I'm not sure. Oh, yes, but I
No.
haven't got an invitation.
Well, that's because he's a union man.
That's right. But I haven't even got a gown. How could I go into with these old rags and says, and he waves the wand and unfortunately turns her into a donkey. It's, oh, sorry, don't worry about that. Oops, I goofed. I think I like me the better the other way, she says. I'm sorry, Cinderella, but I'm kind of new at this. So he waves the wand again, and there she is, all beautiful in a brand new gown. And of course, it's an invitation to the ball. How can I ever thank you? At the stroke of 12, you shall be returned to your normal self. Your grimy old dirty self. I can only work 8 hours. That's what he reminds her of the union. I go off duty at 12. Well, how am I going to get there? So and he says he's going to take this pumpkin and change it into a horse and a fine carriage. So he rolls it out the door, waves the wand, and a car horn honks. He oops, goofed again, waves it again, and we get a horse mini. There we go. I shall, fairy godfather, I shall. He says, remember, be back by 12.
Uh,
Remember, return before the stroke of midnight.
hey, welcome, Oiler Greg. Well, hey, welcome, Greg. He says, "Hey, Pop and the rest." I guess I'm just
Hey,
part of
Ola
the rest.
Greg.
Okay,
Good
Oiler
to
Greg.
see
I
you,
know.
Ola Greg.
Yeah, I see where I rank, Oiler Greg. I see where I rank. Yeah, Oiler Greg's a giant spider hunts at midnight. Probably. You know, Oiler Greg, you would fit in perfectly in Australia. I heard they got some giant spiders down there.
Oh, yes, they do.
God, we should watch Eight-Legged Freaks just for Oiler Greg.
I was I was so disappointed. That I remember when they advertised that movie, I was excited because I wanted a giant spider movie, and they changed it into a horrible comedy. My God, I was so mad. I hated that movie so much. And
I
yeah,
don't know.
Mr. Howell.
Uh, I didn't find it too bad, but I haven't watched it in years.
Well, I just said I wanted a horror movie, and it was a bad comedy. I think it was David Arquette or somebody, whoever started it. But no, because it had good special effects, it could have been a really good horror movie. And it turned into a bad comedy, and the jokes weren't even funny. Ladies and gentlemen, the prince. So we have Mr. Howell as the prince. Nice going in there, shorty. Arise, arise and be introduced to magnificent me. Of course, all attitude. My prince may introduce the fair Frederica. And this, my prince, is the fair Giselle. Pretty fair, he says. And here's where Ginger's character says she saw him drop this in the parade 6 months ago, and I've cherished it. And we begin to dance.
Uh, yeah, in this dance sequence here, but the one with see Mary Ellen's voice, or not Mary Ellen, Mary Ann's voice in this thing was so annoying because they purposely did that. Like they had sinus infection voices in it.
Yeah, they had her talk like shit, right? Her voice was very grating.
Yeah, and like the glasses didn't bother me, but the voice did. As all the attempt to make Lovey look a lot better in the dream. Then they're then they do this stupid little dance.
And she says, I must kiss you before I leave. And she leaves, and then she leaves a boot behind. And then the Godfather sees it and zaps it into a shoe, which even looks kind of big because she wears a size 12. Then she wakes up, Cinderella, Cinderella. Oh, I was dreaming I was Cinderella. Oh, my darling, you'll always be my prince. And the cuckoo clock goes off. It's almost midnight if you hurry, Thurston. And so we have the next day Gilligan playing with the lie detector.
All right,
I like
so do you recognize the mistake in this scene?
what's that?
Do you recognize do you have any idea what the mistake is?
No, that's why I asked you. What's that?
Okay, he's like, I like ice cream, ding. I like hot dogs, ding. I like spinach, ding. But in the episode, remember that vegetable episode?
Uh huh. The
Yeah, he
one where
goes, spinach,
they
my
got
absolute
strong.
favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that's
he's
the
like,
one where he got extra strong, right?
yeah. He turned into Popeye because he loved his spinach so much. But here it's about saying he's lied when he talks about liking spinach.
Yeah, that's true. I think the writers may have forgotten. That's why they needed a writer's Bible like Star Trek.
Yeah.
And he says hi to Marianne. Oh, it was delicious.
Yeah, they're talking about the coconut pies. He's like, they look delicious, ding. Ding there.
But she
Did
said
you,
they disappeared, right? She said the
yeah,
pies disappeared.
yeah, have you
And
seen
he,
them? No.
right. I told him, but I didn't take them. And then it says that he's lying. And in fact, the whole thing, his lies overpower the whole thing, and it starts to explode. Well, they were delicious, he said. So that part of it was the truth. we got our closing credits.
All right. Yeah, welcome, Scurvy here. Oh, I think Scurvy's been here. But he's saying hi to, or he's saying cheers to Euler. Then Euler's saying, hey,
Oh, very
Scurvy.
cool.
Yeah, Scurvy says, is gorilla a tender ape? It depends on how the girl likes it.
Oh,
but
that's
anyhow,
true.
but this episode here, if they will cut it off before the Cinderella story, it would have been a B episode, a little predictable but enjoyable. But as soon as they got to that Cinderella story, it went down to D plus, maybe a
I
D,
guess
just
it
plain
kind of
old D.
dragged. Yeah, it did drag a bit,
It,
didn't it?
yeah, it just wrecked it. And one thing I noticed in these two episodes here, it had repeat music from other episodes. Like this one here has that tuba
Well,
one we've
this is
been hearing a lot season 3.
the well, it's like Star Trek. This is the third season. By the time you get to it, it's all repeat music. They usually only did original music in the first season, maybe two, but definitely not by the time they get to the
Uh,
third season.
well, 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 Star Trek, I didn't notice it, versus this here was very obviously noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have seen this actor before that, or oops, we haven't quite got to that quite yet, but it is right at the beginning here.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to cover season 3, episode 20. Our Vines Have Tender Apes. This episode originally premiered Monday, January 30th, 1967. And its description is as follows: an ape man wreaks havoc on the island and frightens the castaways who didn't realize. I'm not going to read it. Forget about that. The introduction is terrible. I'm not going to read it. It gives way too much once again. I apologize. So we have our opening scene here. And Gilligan comes in and says, somebody's been eating my fruit. And somebody's been sitting in my chair.
Yeah, they did the whole Goldilocks thing here. It's just like, I was like, oh, come on. Like, I was groaning a little bit at it, but it's forgivable. And welcome, PvP. Says hi to Papa
I
Joe.
love PvP. Well, yeah, first we get Cinderella, and now we're getting, or first we get, Cinderella, now we're getting Goldilocks.
At least they didn't beat us over the head with the Goldilocks theme. It's just there as a kind of,
Right.
It was,
Somebody's been sitting in my hammock, and they're still there. And he jumps out,
yeah.
and he scares Gilligan.
And is it really if it's anybody else, would that really have scared him there? Because you got a shaved man. He's supposed to be an ape man, but he's all shaved up and clean, and all he did was just beat his chest screaming.
I don't know. I guess it's part of the humor. Probably part of the
Yeah,
joke.
and clearly we see the door open, but when we get to the next scene, you'll see that there's a hole in the door. Oh, yep. We got our opening scene, and PvP says Cinderella, Goldilocks. What? Well, the last episode had a dream sequence telling the story of Cinderella that was being told over the radio. And this one here, he opened up with the reference going, someone's been eating my fruit. Someone's been sitting in my chair. Someone's been... It's the whole Goldilocks story. And then Gilligan would be silly dressed up as either. Well, Gilligan wasn't the one dressed up as... Gilligan wasn't even the one to drag. So, yeah, they're fixing the tenure. But no, there was the thing that we missed in the last one. There was a hole in the door, which I would have changed it. And if they're gonna wreck part of or destroy part of the prop as the joke,
Mm-hmm.
I would just put a Gilligan shaped hole in the wall. Had Gilligan run straight through the wall, and had like a man shaped hole in it.
Yeah, that's true. So they just fixed and repaired the net, and they're hanging it up. And they said, yeah, that should all hold for a few weeks. And unfortunately, that's just as Gilligan runs into the net. I saw an 8 man. I don't care what he saw. Gilligan, you just ruined 8 hours of work. You should have seen me. He was 10 feet tall. He ate my fruit. He sat in my chair. He was in my hammock, and so he's so excited. He's trying to explain to them. He looks like he's in
Yeah.
shock.
Yeah. Well, can you, but with that net there, can you imagine spending like 8 to 12 hours fixing that thing just for one, only for it to last 2 weeks, and then not only that, Gilgy just come running right into it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, but this actor here, we've actually seen him before on Gilligan's Island.
Denny
That
Crane,
that
yes, this is his
no,
second appearance on the island.
Denny Miller.
Miller, thank you.
Yeah, he played Duke Williams there, but he also this also fits him here. He's had experience with this kind of role before because he played Tarzan in the 1959 Tarzan and the Ape Man.
Yes, he's known for a variety of roles of TV shows and movies. I recommend a really good movie starring Peter Sellers called The Party. It's a hilarious comedy, one of my favorites, and he's in it. And I recommend it if you can search out and look for it. The Party.
Okay.
So he knocks down Gilligan and he startles them. So at least they didn't spend a lot of time with asking Gilligan, "Are you sure you know what you saw? Are you sure you weren't hallucinating?" So they really got that out of the way quick. So they all know there's an 8 man on the island.
Yeah.
He says,
Well,
"See, I told you."
well, at least they didn't do that whole stupid thing where they go, "Oh, he's just being Gilligan again." A bit later, they see exactly what Gilligan saw. You go, "Oh, Gilligan wasn't lying." That because that got old pretty fast too. When
Yeah.
they were doing that in first season and second season.
This is the first appearance of island shopping cart. So apparently, this is how the girls do their daily shopping.
Well, what happened to the car? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's parked outside. So the men are going and looking for the 8 man. Mr. Howell's complaining, and they say, "Were you rather be back with the girls?" We said, "Now that you mention it, yes."
You ever notice that all four men always go out looking for whatever danger is, but they never leave one behind to protect the women?
Well, they talked about that before. They'll get someone to volunteer, but women are pretty safe.
Because that'd be like the opportune
You're nitpicking all
moment
the
to strike.
jokes. You're nitpicking all the jokes.
No, I'm not nitpicking it.
Oh,
I'm not nitpicking it. I was just making an observation of something I've noticed
yeah.
over the years or over the last year here. But uh,
And he starts to throw coconuts at them,
yeah. I
apparently
wonder how much
destroying Mister.
that will. Yeah, I wonder how much that hurt to be hit in the head with the coconut for that high up.
I'm
Obviously, it's
sure
enough to
it would
destroy
be
stuff.
concussion.
Oh yeah,
It would probably be a concussion. Yeah, because they're heavy.
yeah. I've never had never actually picked up coconut because we don't sell them around here.
I'm sure you can find them imported. Like
Yeah,
pineapples, they don't grow around here, but you can usually find them.
yeah, but we just don't have the market for them. All our coconut stuff is already like shredded coconut and stuff like that.
Yeah, people probably don't buy them.
Yeah.
So he busts into the Howell's hut, and he has Mr. Howell's golf club, and he bites it in half. Mr. Howell passes out, and Lovey gets upset. "Aren't you ashamed of yourself?" And and I really, if I were you, I'd change tailors. which is good. And she starts hitting him and scares him out. So when it comes
Yeah,
down to it, you always watch out. Miss Howell, she'll kick butt.
yeah,
And he says, "Good thing I passed out."
yeah,
And now the girls are doing their makeup.
yeah.
And
And
there we go,
Mary Ellen goes first.
Mary Ellen.
Yeah. Uh,
Make ourselves as ugly as possible.
yeah. But and I think this was very funny here, where she waits until Mary Ellen uglies herself up. And then goes, there's no way to ugly myself up. Have that just a slight lovable narcissism there, but yet
Of
she waits
course.
until Mary Ellen does it. Or not Mary Ellen, Mary Ann.
Which is why don't we barricade the door and then he'll leave us both alone.
Yeah.
So we got
Yeah.
that same old that chest seems to or cabinet, whatever that is, seems to pop up in different people's huts depending on the episode.
Cupboard. Yeah,
So now,
cupboard.
now it's in the girls' hut.
Yeah. And they make the same mistake that everybody always makes. They'll barricade the door, but forget the window.
Yep,
Yeah.
and he comes in the window.
Yeah. Because I've even seen that with people they'll put up like a bulletproof door, but yet they'll have sheetrock for walls right next to the door.
Exactly.
So like that door's gonna do you any good. Yeah, but here they forgot the window.
Right, and Ginger is abducted by the ape man, and Marianne, not knowing, is still talking to her, saying, "Have you thought about how he got here?" Then now she hears, and she screams, and he starts removing the barricade from the door, and he takes Ginger and kidnaps her. And she says, "Don't touch me." And he offers her a pineapple, and she says, "No thanks, I never drink before dinner." Or coconut, I'm sorry.
And this is
My
like,
name is Ginger.
yeah, it's kind of nice how she was trying to communicate with him, trying to teach him.
Yeah, it's that old trope where she's trying to teach him English. He keeps not apparently not understanding it. Keeps pushing her off her chair. You think that'd give her a bruise?
Yeah.
And Ninja really says Tongo, so she figures out his name. And here come the men come to rescue her.
Right. Hey, Scurvy here says they stole that shopping cart from the grocery store on the other side of the island.
That's right. They better return it, right?
Yeah. All right.
Have you
And
seen the grocery stores where the shopping carts have automatic locks? Where if you try to go outside the area, they lock up. Have you seen that? Or do you probably don't have that problem where you live? I guess, right?
no, we did not.
Yeah, in the bigger cities, they have locks. They have like a wireless device built in to where because so many of the bums rip them off, so they have a wireless device built in to where if you try to walk outside the parking lot, it automatically locks up.
Huh.
Because of what store was I in? I was in a store, and I did shopping, and the cart was full of stuff. I started to walk out the door, and it locked up before it even went out the store. I'm not talking about the parking lot. I'm talking about the store. So even before I went out the doors, it locked up, and I said, "What the hell is this?" "Oh, well, it's our anti-theft measure, so nobody steals our carts." I said, "How am I going to get this shit? Oops, sorry, the stuff from here to my car out in the parking lot?" "Well, I don't know, sir." I said, "Okay, then give me my money back." So I made him give me my money back on everything in that cart, and I never went back.
Well, yeah, if it locks up before you even out the door.
That's like saying everybody's a thief, and just carry it manually back and forth from the store to your car. Yeah, right. Just give my money back. You call me a thief, give me my money back. So Ginger gets rescued. No danger. I hit him pretty hard with that coconut, she said. Sorry, we were talking over that, but Ginger pretty much did. He was talking. They were trying to communicate, and Ginger finally hit him over the head with the coconut, and she was able to escape. And now they're saying we've got to lure him into a trap, and they know that he's attracted to her. She said, "Well, I'm not attracted to him." What are we gonna do? Hi. So here comes Marianne, just as they were making plans. So now they're gonna build a trap, and they're gonna use Marianne for bait. And she once again looking hot in that little schoolgirl outfit. So she's walking around looking sexy, trying to lure him in. And he chases her, and we have this hut that's just here in the center of the opening. And she runs into one side, and he chases after her. And she runs out at the other end, and as she does that, they lock it behind her,
Yeah.
and they lock it from both ends, and they have him
Yep.
trapped.
Yep. I'm pretty sure we've seen that cage before too.
Probably have. They probably reused it before.
Oh, but the one thing we missed here is you remember that All About Eva episode?
Yes, with Ginger playing two roles.
Yeah, that that she went back to Hollywood and took over the role as Ginger Grant, but she must have failed because Tango had that thing where he talks about the Ginger that he assumes that's the real Ginger Grant that went missing. So she must have failed as a role as Ginger Grant.
Yeah, they'll cover that here shortly. And they say, I hope those bars hold. And they say, yeah, we reinforced it. Hate to find out we were murdered in our sleep. They've been reinforced. It'll hold. They're talking about the bars. So he pulls out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this was a mini cassette recorder. This is before they invented cassette. So actually, let me correct myself. This is a mini reel-to-reel player. And these things were very expensive. But as you can see, it did not use cassettes because we hadn't invented cassettes yet. So it actually uses a mini reel to reel. And he's recording his voice. My third night on the island, and I didn't think it's possible, but they captured me. And he's laughing. And now it's where he's talking about what Gorilla was saying, that he recognizes Ginger Grant, but he hasn't seen her for some time. The actress who was reported missing at sea, and the rest of them. And now he's saying if he can convince them that that he's an ape man, he'll be ready for his Hollywood role.
Yeah. Oh, and welcome Sci-Fi Sit Dan.
Hello, Sci-Fi. Sit down. Good to see you.
and uh, leave it to Gilligan to be able to communicate with them.
Right. Just a moment. I gotta clear my throat.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. Mm.
All right. Now we have the professor and Ginger looking on as Gilligan supposedly communicates with the ape man. You're doing a great job, Matongo. And they come out from the clearing. As they say, we came over to see if we could find a way to communicate. And there you were talking to him, imitating a monkey. Hoo, 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 hoo. He understands and wants to be friends. And he says, well, he sure wants to be friends with Ginger. And it's surprising that Ginger's the one that suggests that he would learn faster if we let him out. And well, and Professor says, okay, but they're ready to slam the door in case anything happens. So immediately, of course, we have him with the Howells. Mr. Howell says, do I detect a trace of Harvard? Another talking about where he eats, if he eats with his left hand or his right hand, that will determine which country he's from. But instead, he picks up and starts eating the whole pie. Thank you, dear. He gives him pieces with his hand. And now we have them trying to describe to him what an island is. And he says island. And Professor's right. And the professor asks him about a boat. Well, nobody likes a wise guy. There's a figuring he must have had a boat to get to the island. And if so, maybe they can use that to get rescued.
Yeah.
Well, nobody likes a wise guy. Where's Tongo's boat? He told us there's a boat on the other. So Tongo draws another island. And then Professor says, well, he told us there's a boat on the other island.
So another island must be within swimming distance.
That's what they figure. And considering it's the Pacific Ocean, that has to be pretty close. Professor, you're a genius. Yeah, but there's one thing that might stop us. And Gilligan says, and they say, oh, what's that? And Gilligan's pointing. And we have the wonderful Janos Prohaska back playing an orangutan.
Yay!
And of course, he's been on the Gilligan's Island and Star Trek, among many other shows, many times. It says, not my mother. And they thought maybe it's the ape man's mother. And he says in clear English, it's not my mother. I never saw it before in my life. So this is where they figure out he knows English. And the ape chases after him, carries him away. And yes, he spoke in English. Well, I don't get it. Oh, look, he dropped something. And here's where they find that recorder that he was using to record his notes. And they start playing him back. I wonder which one dropped it. Tongo dropped it, says the skipper. And here is them playing back the recording. Well, I haven't seen her for some time. And he's talking about the actress Ginger, who was reported missing at sea. So now they figure out who he is, and he's just an actor trying for a role in a movie. So
Can
I
we
was
catch up
talking
on
about
chat?
how that's a good idea. Thank you.
All right. So PvP says he looks like Tarzan. Oh. And grocery stores are starting to do that here. I had to get staff member to unlock it for me, and they did. Only happened once. I'm so glad we don't have that problem around here.
You guys don't have the homeless population these bigger cities do.
Yeah. And PvP says, "Wow, Marianne looks gorgeous. Those big eyes." This is it says hello to pop culture curator. This is hello
Hello
to
there.
PvP. Hello Scurvy. Hello. Everybody say hello. Then PvP says he's a high tech Tarzan.
Yes, he is.
Eh, and the language of the primitive people everywhere, Gilganese.
True, true.
Yeah. So yeah, now they got to lure the gorilla away.
Oh, you don't
There's
say.
only
Okay.
one. Yeah. Yep. And there's only one way to lure a gorilla away. Finding a mate.
Right. And what are we going to do that with? Another gorilla. And of course, they look at Gilligan like he's the sucker. And now they have been making Gilligan look like a gorilla. And they use apparently all of Mrs. Howell's fur. And here we have where the ape man is trying to talk to the ape. And this is supposedly a real ape, so it's not understanding what he's saying. And there's Gilligan in there trying to lure him out. Tonga's there and the gorilla's there, he says. But I don't know what I'm doing here. Another thing is they need to attract the gorilla away from Tongo. Then we'll rescue Tongo. Yeah, but who'll rescue me? So they said, start acting like an ape. So Gilligan starts dancing around like an ape. And which does get the other ape's attention. There he is rolling around. And now the gorilla does go after Gilligan. Now they're worried that that gorilla will kill him. And the girls rush in to get Tongo out of there. Tongo, you can come out now. Or you can forget about the act. Now they tell him that they know that he's from Hollywood.
Oh, I am so glad he just flat out just dropped the actor instead of playing it out there. That they have to call him out on that.
Oh,
I'm just
yes.
I'm so glad they just did it straight up. Because a lot of shows they will made it play dumb and stuff, and it'd be like, I will bet that would really it instantly drop my rating for the show.
Yeah, I can understand that. So Tongo goes sulking off into the forest. And then the next thing you know, they hear a helicopter. He's coming to rescue us. Tongo, hey Tongo. And he drops a note. Read it, Professor. What does it say? But I can't take you back with me. If the story ever gets out, it would ruin my career as the ape man. And of course, they're yelling, no, come back. We won't tell anyone. And he leaves. We won't tell anyone. And here's Gilligan saying, someone's been eating my fruit. And someone sat in my chair.
Yeah,
Somebody's been sleeping in my hammock and they're still there.
yeah. I Yeah, I think they just cut and pasted that from the beginning of the episode, didn't they?
No, they reshot it.
Oh, okay.
Especially because they had to break the door a second time. So
Oh,
there goes Gilligan. Oops, let me go back here. Try to show this without getting, screw it. I'm going to get copyright stricken no matter what I do. And there goes Gilligan running out again, scared.
okay. I just thought they just kind of cut out the thing so it would look exactly the same, and then put shot the thing with the orangutan.
And now, this time, Janos does get on screen credit. Before he didn't, but now he does at least. So Janos Prohaska as the ape. Now remember, this is a guy, like I said, who was on, He played the Magato on Star Trek. He played the rock creature. He played the Horta. I mean, the guy did many things back then. He was on Lost in Space, Lucy's Show, Wild Wild West, a whole bunch of stuff. Before he tragically died in a plane crash in 1974. And we got our closing credits. There we go. Remember, everybody, as a reminder, I did put a poll in the chat. If you feel like um, voting, please give it a try. Let us know what you think. You could either give us your opinion on which episode you liked the best or which coverage of the two episodes you enjoyed the most. And I'll be covering that, and I'll show the results of the poll here shortly. Let me get rid of this overlay. There we go. All right. Okay. So that was Lovey's Secret Admirer and Our Vines Have Tender Apes. So, Gorilla, tell me, what did you think? Which episode would you say you enjoyed the most?
Our Vines is a Tender Apes because a gorilla episode always gets an automatic A. It's in the bylaws.
Absolutely, yes.
It's fun having just another actor there. Though I kind of wish at the end there that even though that they would have done like a thing where he kind of talked to him. They go, we won't tell anybody, but he not believe him, he just leaves anyhow. Instead of tossing the thing down. But I can understand why they did it, but as a way for him not to be rescued. But I would have done that slightly different. But overall, it's pretty good there. There's a few slight changes here, but we're fans. We nitpick. So,
of course.
But that first episode, it had me kind of intrigued. It was predictable, but still enjoyable. But then you got to the Cinderella thing, and then it just went downhill from there. And that dropped the grade tremendously. I just was like, no.
Well, that's fine. So you left me like the second episode the best.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to agree with you. I enjoyed the second one the best always. Also. Yeah, it's getting a little tiring. The Cinderella, you're right. I too am also tired of the Cinderella trope. I know for a lot of people out there love the fairy tale, but I was inundated as a kid and I saw it everywhere. It got old after a while.
Well, it's not really the Cinderella trope. It's more of how they presented it. Okay, Alan Hale Jr. in a drag, a little funny, But then you had to do like the sinus infection voices that I didn't mind the glasses part, make him look a little bit ugly, but then you got they had that stupid dancing scene, and they couldn't pay for a few more extras to be in a ballroom instead of the regular cast. It was it just took me out of it.
Maybe because it's a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but yeah, it's just it's not that it was a Cinderella story. It's how they did the Cinderella story that really dropped it all the way down.
Okay.
That I thought.
It was nice to see Denny Miller come back as the Ape Man once again. And like I said, I recommend everybody, if you could check out the movie The Party, starring Peter Sellers. You'll find Danny Crane in it playing a Texan. And it's a extremely hilarious movie. A lot of physical slapstick comedy. It's directed by the director of all the Pink Panther movies. My mind draws a blank right now, but the director of the Pink Panther movies. Okay, so that's our opinions. Now I'm going to close the chat.
And as you're doing that, PvP says the Gilligan trope. They can't get rescued again. Yep. And Janos should get credit for his great performances.
I agree. He didn't get enough credit. It's very rare that you saw him get any credit, in fact.
Yeah.
In any of his performances.
The PvP says I'm voting for the second one. They said Blake Edwards, Pop.
Yes, thank you. That's it. Blake Edwards directed the Pink Panther movies as well as the movie The Party. And we have the results of our chat. Which episode did you enjoy the most? It looks like they agree with us. So it looks like our Vines Have Tender Apes have 77%, and Lovey Secret Admirer at 22% with 9 votes.
Yeah,
So that's cool. Yeah, it looks like we lined up with the people in the chat.
yeah. Then it
Thank,
was
thank
at
you for
80%
voting,
what I
everybody.
voted.
Sorry, what's that?
It was at 80% what I voted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And welcome,
Thank you.
DVB.
Hello, DVB. Good to see you.
He says, "Hey, pops, I hope you've been well."
I am doing better
Then
today. Thank
hey,
you.
Gorilla, hey, PvP. All right, we're all caught up.
All caught up. All right. That was 2 more episodes from Gilligan's Island season 3. And I really thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you guys had a good time. It looks like we've only got a handful of episodes left before we conclude Gilligan's Island. And then we'll move on to the rescue movies. We have 3 of those. And when I cover those, we'll all also be covering some behind the scenes interviews with the cast. Because after Gilligan's Island went off the air, they did a lot of interviews as well as cameo appearances and other things. And I'll try to cover as much of that as I can without hopefully getting copyright stricken. All right, and I want to thank especially all of you guys in the chat for being here and for voting. And if you're watching this on the rerun, maybe consider hitting the like button and share. And if you haven't done so, maybe subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot of fun stuff on here, as well as a lot of fantastic people that come by, drop in, visit, and share their channel information. Gorilla, why don't you, speaking of, Gorilla, tell us about your channel.
Well, I got tomorrow's live stream up there, and hopefully people won't take too much offense to it. But I was having a heck of a time trying to generate art for this thumbnail for tomorrow's cringe talk, which is the American Society of Magical Negroes. So
There you go.
you can just guess what art was being generated.
Oh, yeah. Check out Gorilla's channel so you can see that, everybody.
Yeah, either the spelling on the stuff was so far off, or it's just so highly offensive. I was like, I didn't know what. But finally, I found something that's tastefully offensive. But then Friday we were reviewing the Waltons episode, the book,
Nice.
and then on Saturday we're reviewing From Russia with Love.
James
And
Bond, very cool.
and for Sunday we have a poll in the chat for what to watch. And right now RoboCop's leading with 50%.
Oh,
So
nice,
make sure to
nice
get
Paul
your
Verhoeven
vote in.
movie.
Yeah, yeah. Then next Wednesday, 2 more episodes of Justified.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, you got a lot of
Yeah,
exciting things going on there. Plus, you've got some great shorts that you're putting out.
yeah. And PvP, it's already up. I already got it up.
All right,
Mm.
and for me, Saturday I'll be back for Rumblings from the Lab, and I will be back on Saturday Rumblings from the Lab, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and I will be back Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for Lost in Space. I promise, make up for last week since I missed it, and I'll get a sci-fi horror stream. I'll get the movie posted up for that. I think where we left off, I think is next will be a Hammer Horror Dracula movie with Christopher Lee, and I'll be posting that shortly in my community tab. Keep an eye out for that. Everybody click the little alert bell and the notifications or whatever that's called. I'm sorry, I'm bad with the terminology. And then, of course, we'll be back next Wednesday with 2 more episodes of Gilligan's Island. And let's see. So we're all caught up on the chat, sir.
Well, we had a few chats pop pop in here. Let's see. Hey
Okay.
DVB. Oh dang, I missed the whole show. Yeah, we started at 9 there, DVB. We
None of
tend
the
to get
time, that is.
yeah, we tend to get through these relatively quickly because there's just two of us and stuff, and we don't want to nitpick the jokes too much because it just wrecks them.
Right. That's one
Though
reason
I
why you
do,
guys see. That's one reason why we have a closed panel on our Gilligan's Island streams. It keeps the time down a lot shorter on the reviews. Sorry, go ahead,
yeah.
Gorilla.
And other Greg says, "Cheers." He goes, "Oh man, sorry guys. Well, just watch us on the replay there. They'll get pop his watch hours."
Yeah, please watch this on the rerun. Don't be discouraged.
Yeah, this they started 90 minutes ago, and 3 more hours. Well, if we go 3 more hours, then we might get stuck on an island somewhere.
Right.
Yeah,
And you're gonna get sick of these two episodes if we talk about them for 2 hours.
and the first, yeah, it's a good show, Pop and Girl. So thank you. Fun as
Thank
always.
you.
And DVB says, "No pressure, LOL."
I do appreciate you coming by and spending time with us.
Yeah. Well, hope to catch you Saturday rumbling show, Pops. If I will, if I can. Hopefully. All right, that's
Yeah,
all
for
the
those of you
chat.
listening, thank you. And for those of you listening, I'm hoping to do a paranormal stream on Saturday. I've been putting my some film clips and pictures together. So if you can make it, and if anybody sees Daniel from Daniel's Hot Topics, spread the word because I know he's been wanting to be there for when I do that. Finally, do that stream. I've been talking about it for a while. But with that, I want to thank you again, Gorilla, for being here tonight once
Yeah, no
again, and
problem.
also helping me out for the chat. I really appreciate that. And if I'll be seeing you on your streams, Gorilla. I'll be popping in to say hello as well.
All right. So thank you. And I am so looking forward tomorrow to sit there and tear tomorrow's movie apart.
Yeah, that should be fun. So
Oh, yeah.
check that out, everybody. Go check that out, everyone. Gorillas Random Thoughts tomorrow night. All
Yeah.
right, and with that, have a wonderful night, everybody. Take care. If you work tomorrow, try to get plenty of sleep. Drive safe. Try to stay warm wherever you're at. And I will see you all soon. And peace.